What's going on guys, Drumvillain here bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content. Now we've had a couple of exciting things happen since we last uploaded. We had a wild unknown spawn in our hometown, and not just any old boring unknown like the ones you get at GoFest. We actually had an unknown W spawn, which was one I needed for my collection. So I was very happy to run out, chase this thing down and catch it. This unknown puts us at officially having 15 different unknown variants caught at this point, which I'm pretty happy with, and it wasn't bad IVs as well to boot. 15 attack, it's too bad it's useless, right? And also, when the Rayquaza raids, we actually got a Hundo Rayquaza. Let me know down below how you pronounce, is it Rayquaza, or Rayquaza if you're feeling fancy. But of course we had to immediately double move this thing and at least power it up to level 40. We didn't grind hard enough to get the total XL candies to get to level 50, but I'm happy at level 40 for this thing for now. So guys, in today's video, we're bringing you a Master League team. Now we use this in Master League Classic. Obviously, none of these are XL Pokemon, none of them are powered up past level 40. The Dialga for some of the matches was best buddy, and in some matches I forgot to even actually put it on as my buddy. So it was just at the 40-20 and didn't have the best buddy boost. And it does make a substantial difference having a best buddy Dialga that has the bulk point to take less Dragon Breath damage from an opposing Dialga. Now we did also hit veteran rank with this team, so 2500 ELO, and then we decided, well, let's record some battles, let's show this team off to you guys, let's show you guys what it can do and how to play some of the matchups that you'll run into with it. Now this is an expensive team, as all Master League teams are generally, because you have to max Pokemon out to at least level 40, double move them. It's very often legendaries that cost 100,000 dust. So this is an expensive league, it's an expensive team, and Groudon has the legacy move Fire Punch and Lugia has the legacy move Aeroblast. Now all these Pokemon serve pretty unique roles, so none of them are really substitutable, but if you had to substitute Lugia, you could probably use Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a very strong, powerful save swap in the Master League, so I would recommend that if you don't have a Lugia, but Groudon and Dialga pretty much cannot be replaced by anything else, as they are too dominant in the Master League. So let's jump into talking about these matchups. Now in this first game we had a Melmetal lead. A Melmetal is a really good lead to see when you're leading Groudon, as you can one-shot it with Earthquake, the Fire Punch does good damage, and the Melmetal has to throw superpowers at you to do any reasonable damage to you, and it can't even take you out. If it builds up to 2, throws both at you, and you let them both through, it will not knock you out, and at that point you can threaten it very heavily just with Fire Punch. So they naturally swapped out into a Dialga. So of course we threw the Earthquake at the Dialga before swapping out, as Groudon also has a good matchup against Dialga, and then we brought in our own Dialga to meet their Dialga and battle that down, and also it means that our Dialga stays away from their Melmetal, which is obviously not a very good matchup for Dialga in general. So if you see a Melmetal lead, you want to swap in unless they swap out, and if they swap into something that's also weak, it's definitely worth throwing a move before you duck out. And now we've ended up with Lugia against Giratina here. Now Giratina does hit Lugia for super effective with the ghost moves, as Lugia is part psychic type, but Lugia is an absolute tank. It is probably the bulkiest thing in Pokemon Go. It has such massive defense and HP stats, it can take moves quite comfortably. At full health, it can survive a Shadow Ball from a Mewtwo, which is absolutely nuts to survive a super effective charge move from Mewtwo with that massive attack stat. Now, the thing about this team is that both Dialga and Lugia struggle against Melmetal. So Groudon is really your main answer to a Melmetal. So if you don't see it on the lead, you need to really bait it out. That's how these teams work. The good thing about Dialga and Lugia is that most often the best thing on the enemy's team to counter them is a Melmetal, so you will bait it out, swap into one of those in almost all scenarios, which means that Groudon can then take care of it and the other Pokemon is free in the back. So we took the win in that first match, GG, and now let's look at another Melmetal lead. So, as we said, Melmetal, if it throws the Rock Slide, it's going to do very little damage, as Groudon will be resisting it. If they throw the Superpower, it won't do that much damage, it's worth letting through, and they'll probably dip out after throwing this. They do into Dialga, which means they only have one good answer to Groudon on their team. So we're going to go straight for the Earthquake. Are they going to shield it? They don't. Get annihilated, Dialga. Absolutely smashed to pieces. One-shots it out the gate. And now they're going to bring in a Togekiss and we're going to swap out to Dialga. And this might seem absolutely stupid as a decision, and maybe it is. But we want to use Dialga here because it doesn't have a good matchup against Melmetal. So, and their switch timer isn't up yet because they swapped and we didn't. So they'll probably be free to swap out sometime around now. But we took a lot of damage on Dialga from this Togekiss, which is unfortunate, and they catch an Iron Head on Melmetal, which is very clutch for them, because that definitely would have done massive damage or forced the last shield out of the Togekiss. But now we're locked in, getting farmed down, and we're going to throw an Iron Head again, because we're not going to make it to the Draco Meteor. We don't get a shield, which is really unfortunate, so this Melmetal is very loaded. But we're still okay to bring in Groudon to this thing, and we've got a full health Lugia. So there's still a decent chance of winning this, really depending what happens. It's going to be a lot closer than you would think it should be from the lead that we got in this match. But my opponent is playing very well and making very clever decisions. So we caught a superpower on Lugia because otherwise we would have had to shield it to save the Groudon from being taken out, as it can take 2 superpowers but it certainly can't take 3. So now we've got Lugia locked in against Togekiss, which is a pretty neutral matchup, and we're going to build up to the Aeroblast before throwing Sky Attack, just so they know that if there's an Aeroblast it'll knock them out. So we do get the shield. Now we're going to throw the Sky Attack straight away because it does a decent chunk of damage. Togekiss isn't that bulky in Master League. Well, nothing's that bulky compared to Lugia really, but because our fast move is Dragon Claw, we cannot farm this thing down. And they're going to get to another move, and is it going to be enough to take us out to an Aerial Ace? Not quite. But they swap out into Melmetal, we swap back to Groudon, and they've got another charge move ready to throw. This Melmetal was so loaded from farming down the Dialga, so now it is all on Lugia. Can we get to 2 moves to win this match? I think the last charm from Togekiss is going to take us out. Can we get it off? Not quite. The opponent takes the win. GG, very well played there from them. So as you can see, winning lead and winning that swap advantage does not always necessarily result in a win. We just couldn't quite pull it out in that match. It was close. In this match we've got a Ho-Oh, and Ho-Oh is a pretty bad lead for Groudon. Ho-Oh is resisting the mud shots. Single resisting, it'll resist the fire punches, it'll resist the earthquake. And it can throw pretty hard hitting moves. You can just go for the earthquake. So we swap out to Dialga, as Lugia is probably a slightly better option against Ho-Oh, just because it would have to throw Brave Birds and debuff its defense, rather than being able to throw Earthquake like it can at Dialga. So we figure Lugia's got a better chance of sweeping at the end game, so that's why we swapped to Dialga. We met with a Mewtwo, which does actually end up taking us out. And now I think we're going to bring in Groudon to deal with this Mewtwo, as since we don't have switch advantage, the Groudon will pretty much, it'll not be dead weight against the Ho-Oh, but it won't be able to do very much. So we might as well let it take this Side Strike, take this damage, and get rid of it, spend some energy, build up a bit, and then hope that Lugia can put some serious work in against whatever's in the back. So we swap in, and this Ho-Oh isn't swapping out. It's staying in, which really makes us think that either whatever they've got in the back is also good against Groudon, or it's something that really struggles against Lugia. So either way, we're feeling a little unsure, but we've built up to 100 energy here, so we're going to have to throw. We throw the Sky Attack. We don't need to throw the Aeroblast here because it's pretty much in the Sky Attack range, this Ho-Oh now. Lugia does still hit relatively hard because it is a stab Sky Attack. So this move should be taking out the Ho-Oh, and then we'll see what they've got in the back. And it's a Palkia. So this is pretty bad news for us, and they throw straight away, which is amazing. It's absolute game saver, because if they had farmed us down, they could have taken out the Groudon straight away, but we had some residual energy, which gives us enough time to get to this Earthquake. Is this going to knock it out? It's not super effective, but bang, it does take it out. Get wrecked, Palkia. GG to my opponent. When shields are down, that Earthquake from Groudon is very threatening to anything that doesn't resist it. So now let's have a look at Dialga leads. Dialga is again another Pokemon you're going to see a lot of on the lead in Master League, and Groudon is a great answer to it. As Groudon does outpace, you can get to the Earthquakes just faster than Dialga gets to Iron Heads, and if he gets one shot, get wrecked, Dialga, he's out of there, absolutely smashed to pieces. And now they come in with their own Groudon, we swap out straight away because if they stayed in with Dialga against our Groudon, we presume that they're weak to a Groudon in the back. So we swap out to Dialga hoping to bait out whatever it is, especially if it's a Melmetal. And this Groudon's staying in, and we're not going to shield, basically sacking the Dialga to attempt something else out. So we're not going to shield, we'll let them dump energy. We've got a shield out of them, which is pretty nice. And now we'll be able to bring in Lugia, which is a good answer to Groudon, because although Fire Punch gives it some decent coverage, it double resists the Earthquake. So we're gonna not gonna shield this move, we don't need to shield this, whatever it is. And then we're gonna see what they've got in the back, and they surrender. So GG to my opponent, but no idea what they actually had in the back there. I guess it was weak to Lugia and or Groudon. So we're gonna have a look at a second Dialga lead, because you will see a lot of Dialgas on the lead in Master League. There's no getting around it. It's probably the most common pick in Master League alongside Melmetal, so you got to be prepared to deal with it on the lead or in the back. Now this Dialga does shield the Earthquake, so now with Groudon he has a good matchup, but you do have to match shields. You can't take that Iron Head, it will then farm you down with Dragon Breath if you do take it. They swap out, maybe trying to catch another Earthquake into Togekiss, so we're going to meet this with Lugia, as we don't really want Dialga on this, although we could force at least one Iron Head through now that they're down to one shield. We figure Lugia is a safer shout in general, but they get the boost. A boosted Togekiss in Master League is an absolute monster. That and Giratina, if either of them get the boost, you might as well just give them the win then and there, because its stats go so astronomically high. Look at it, look at the bulk there, it just takes that Sky Attack like it's nothing. So my opponent lost lead, and this boost on their part is really saving it for them. I'm going to bring in Groudon, use that bit of energy just to get rid of it, because that Togekiss was going to run absolutely rampant even with that small bit of health left, so we're glad they let it go down. I'm going to swap out into Dialga, they bring in their Dialga, and we're hoping that Groudon and Dialga can deal with whatever's in the back. They swap out and it's a Giratina Origin. So this is looking pretty good because Dialga has a very good matchup against Giratina Origin, but they are up a shield, and up a shield Giratina can flip this matchup if it decides to throw. I think if it throws a Shadow Ball here, we're low enough where it might just take us out. But now this Giratina is very close to being in Fire Punch range, I think, but they built up plenty, they know what they're doing, and they're going to take us out here, and they're going to take the win. GG. No matter how good the switch advantage you've got is, a boost on a Togekiss or a Giratina is very, very hard to come back from. So let's look at the mirror match. Groudon mirror matches are entirely baiting games. You can comfortably take Fire Punches, but Earthquake will near one-shot. And we call the bait correctly, we call the Earthquake, and now we're going to throw a Fire Punch bait, hoping that they shield, thinking that we're going to throw an Earthquake as well, and we don't get a shield. This is bad. This is very bad for us. So we're going to throw another Fire Punch now, because we are at the Earthquake and they know we're at the Earthquake, but we still don't get the shield. This Groudon has balls of steel. It is going nowhere. It is not dropping shield. So we're just going to throw another Fire Punch and almost take them out. We swap out into Lugia to snipe them down, which they got to be mad about. They had a lot of energy that went to waste there. And we drag out a Giratina Origin. Now, Giratina Origin has a good matchup against Lugia, as we've said before, as we are taking super effective damage from the moves. But as you can see, those Sky Attacks do add up. They do a good chunk of damage. Now, we could throw another Sky Attack here. Yeah, we'll throw another Sky Attack because this won't knock it out, but it'll get it pretty low. It might tempt them to shield, since they've had two shields, we figured it was probably definitely going to get a shield out of them. Now we can bring in Dialga and farm this thing down, then hopefully we've got a good play against whatever's in the back. We should be able to throw a Draco Meteor and swap out to Groudon if needs be, which is always a nice play to have towards the end of a game. And we're pretty sure this is an Ominous Wind. It did have a lot of energy. Yeah, just an Ominous Wind, that's fine. A Shadow Ball would have taken us out, and it's a Mewtwo in the back. So we don't need to worry about throwing Draco Meteor. We're just going to throw the Iron Head straight away, as Mewtwo is very squishy and can't really take an Iron Head or a Draco Meteor. And it can't take an Earthquake either from Groudon, so all I wanted to do was get the shield, swap into Groudon, and then race to the Earthquake as fast as possible to try and take it out. We're safe to shield this, we'll not get farmed down, we can throw the Earthquake and we should be taking the win. GG. So we were able to flip this match back around despite fumbling the opening tied matchup, as although we did call the Earthquake, we also got our bait called twice. We're jumping into the next matchup now against Ancient Oak. I wonder if he's named after the professor or the tree. Now we get a Giratina lead. Now Giratina is a bad lead for Groudon, and there are quite a lot of Giratina origin leads out there, and we're met with a Darkrai to punish Lugia, and this would seem like the worst thing. But it's a Dark type, it's got strong moves that hit for super effective damage against Lugia, it's very attack weighted, but his Darkrai is very squishy. It can't take a move to save its life. Even the Dragon Tails here are really chipping away at it, as you can see. And Lugia is an absolute monster and can tank one Dark Pulse, which gives us a bunch of energy, and we're going to go straight for the Aero Blast here. If they don't let this go through, it's going to take them out. Does it? They shield. That's fine. But it's pretty low now, so we're going to go for the Sky Attack, and they must have overcharged. They massively underestimate our energy, get to the Sky Attack, and it takes them out. So Lugia managing to keep switch against a Darkrai punish, which is insanely good for us. So we've got switch advantage. Dialga's on Giratina, and they quit the match. GG. So Lugia showing how strong of a safe swap it can be there, managing to flip a Darkrai swap in. Now in this match we get a Zekrom lead. And Zekrom, you won't see that many of them, they're fairly uncommon in Master League, but they're around. Now, it's a good match for Groudon, because again, Earthquake hits for super effective from a one-shot, and it can't throw wild charges at you because they'll be double resisted. So, although it does chip away with the Dragon Breath, but it's still a pretty good matchup, kind of on the same level as a Dialga lead. So if you get a Zekrom lead, you want to stop in again until they swap out or until you knock them out. And they swapped out to a Giratina, which we had Dialga to punish with, which is a very by the numbers, farm them down, throw an Iron Head to make them shield if they wanna. And now the Zekrom comes in and farms us down. Now the one thing is we're gonna throw this move and see if they want to shield. And if they shield, we're going to when they throw. Because Zekrom's often run Crunch and Wild Charge, but some run Outrage. And we thought we'd better shield just in case, because we don't want to get taken out there by an Outrage, because it would one-shot us. I'm going to throw an Earthquake in, I've got a shield out of him, they let it go down, and it's a Dialga in the back. So we're going to be able to make it to an Earthquake here, and this will probably get the shield from Dialga, and then we need to swap out to Lugia straight away so that we don't get farmed down, so we haven't got more energy to throw. Now we've still got a shield, and the Dragon Tails are hitting for neutral since Dialga's Dragon Steel, which is pretty good. And these charge moves are resisted, but Aeroblast is an absolute nuke. And if you can land an Aeroblast on Dialga, that flips the matchup in Lugia's favour. And since we've got the shield, we can guarantee we can get to it. We can guarantee it's going to land because they don't have shields. So this should be almost going to take it out. Definitely puts it in farm down range, as Lugia can tank Dragon Breaths all day long. GG. So we've got two more matches for you guys before I leave you with bonus match. In this match against Rocket Dome, we pull a Rhyperior lead. Now Rhyperior again is a great matchup for Groudon, as Groudon resists any rock moves it might throw. You threaten it massively with the Earthquake. You do have to watch out for Surf, it does hit decently hard. Like 2 Surfs would take Groudon out. But also we are getting to these Earthquakes much faster than Rhyperior is getting to its charge moves. So we're massively outpacing, we take out the Rhyperior. And we're tempted to swap out here, and we do. We decide we're going to bring in Dialga, because we've got a lot of energy left on Groudon. So if they did have a Melmetal, for example, we could probably still get to an Earthquake on Groudon to threaten it. So we swap in, we take an Aeroblast from that Lugia, which maybe wasn't the best idea, maybe we should have shielded, but also with 2 shields left on both sides, there's a good chance to bait. So, and it's not like it one-shots either, so it's not like the worst decision to make. Now, we assumed they were weak to Groudon in the back since they stopped him with Rhyperior, but they're stopping in here with Lugia, so maybe whatever else they've got in the back is also weak to Dialga, we're not sure. We're going to go ahead and throw the Draco Meteor as we're about to go down anyway. We do get the last shield, which is quite nice because the Aeroblast from Lugia, having it guaranteed to land, is pretty good. Now, we're going to take this move, I think. Now, we're going to show you, yeah, it's an Aeroblast, so good shield there, because it would do good damage, and it's a Darkrai in the back. So we're going to swap to Groudon, and we're going to get straight to this Earthquake, because we're already pretty much there. Take it straight out, and now it's just going to be a case of building up to an Aeroblast on Lugia to take out the opposing Lugia. Sky Attack might do the job, it might not, but when you've got shields down, you might as well go for the hardest hitting move you've got. So go for the Aeroblast, take it out, GG. Now, we didn't see any Kyogre leads, which obviously is probably the worst lead for Groudon. That, Giratina, or maybe Swampert or Gyarados would be a bad lead as well. But in this matchup, we pull Landorus. Now, Landorus is a very good core breaker for a lot of Master League teams, especially the ones that were Dialga, Melmetal, maybe Dragonite, other Pokemon like that. Landorus does well against a lot of Pokemon. And obviously it resists the Earthquake from Groudon, but it doesn't resist the Fire Punches, and it is quite squishy. As you can see, they do a good chunk there, but also it hits pretty hard back as well. That Earth Power does more than 50%, which is pretty solid damage. And obviously we stopped him with Groudon, and you want to stop him with Groudon because both Dialga and Lugia will both also struggle against Landorus, so you might as well do what you can with Groudon. Now they have swapped out to a Snorlax, so we're going to bring in Dialga to meet this. Now it is a Shadow Snorlax, and a superpower from a Shadow Snorlax would do a lot of damage to Dialga. So we shield, and it's just a Body Slam, and we're going to go ahead and throw this Iron Head, which is going to threaten big damage with the damage bonus because it's a Shadow. And you see the Dragon Breath's really chipping away despite how bulky Snorlax is. Now this might be a superpower, might be a Body Slam. We're going to let it go through, we're going to take a chance. It is a superpower, and it does take us out. So now we're not looking as bad as we could because we've got all shields down, which is really a lot of what this team needs. And let this go through, but it is the Rock Slide. We were hoping they threw the Earth Power blind, thinking we're going to come with Groudon, but they were smarter than that, and they did have a lot of energy. So we're going to shield up this second Rock Slide, and we should be able to farm down now, and we've got a lot of energy to threaten what they do bring in here. So we're going to wait, they're waiting out the Switch Timer, and they bring in Snorlax, and they've got energy to throw straight away. This just be a Body Slam. But he's going to do a moderate chunk, well, a respectable little chunk really. I'm going to take them out with the Sky Attack. We're not going to waste all of the Aeroblast energy here on this thing. And it's really the lick damage from a Shadow Snorlax that threatens Lugia anyway, and they've got Mewtwo in the back. Can we make it to the Aeroblast? We do. Is this going to one-shot? Does Aeroblast one-shot Mewtwo? Not quite, but that is a lot of damage. Mewtwo gets absolutely smashed to bits there, and we're just going to be able to force him to throw here with Groudon swapping in, and then we'll just be able to Dragon Tail down. GG. So I'm going to leave you guys with bonus match against a losing lead. And Groudon, as you can see, is a very strong lead in general. It wins a lot of matchups against a lot of things, a lot of popular choices in the meta, and probably Giratina is the most common lead loss that you'll see. And there's a lot of arguments to be made about whether you should swap out or stay in, and really you just got to judge it for yourself. Take a stab. You can sometimes swapping out's the right move, sometimes it's the wrong move, but you won't know until you try. Just go with your gut and see what happens. You can't win them all, remember. So let me know what you guys think of the team. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the team, like the content, you want to see more teams, more strats. Let me know what you guys want to see down below. You got any suggestions for teams or ideas? And I'm going to be making a video for Great League next. We've been running a bit of an unusual team comp, but we're having quite a lot of success with it. So looking forward to sharing that with you guys in a couple of days. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support, and I will catch you guys next time.